I want to thank you for joining us again for another episode of Sermon Highlights. Today we're here with our pastor, Dr. Harold Thomas III. Pastor, I want to thank you for coming back here and sharing with us the highlights, the main points. So just go ahead and go into it and just give us the highlights of the message today.
Great, Elder. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and just share with our brothers and sisters that our title today was Whose Will It Be? My thesis was that ownership, God owns everything, we own nothing. In reality, sometimes we think that we own things, but in reality, if the IRS wants to lock down our bank accounts and seize our money, they can. If the government decides wants to use your property for eminent domain for public use, they can come and make an offer to you to sell you, to buy your property and to seize it and take over. If you get caught selling drugs and being a drug pusher or a drug dealer, they can seize everything that you own. And so the things we think we own, we really don't own. Because in reality, there's another issue of ownership. Because when we die, everything we have goes to someone else. So the question is, whose will it be anyway? Jesus tells the parable of the foolish rich man that had abundance of things. His barns were filled, but he decides to say, hey, my barns are filled. Let me tear this one down, build larger ones so that I can fill everything. So he did that, a great business decision. But the parable goes on, Jesus says, you fool, tonight your life will end. And whose things will these be? Mm-hmm. That's the question. And that's a question for all of us. When it's all over, whose will it be? One point I wanted to make sure we write down and get our wills, trusts, power of attorneys, advance directives in order so that our last act of stewardship is in order. So our family and our relatives and loved ones are not trying to figure out whose these things will be. Mm-hmm. We have outlined what we're going to do, how we want our assets and our estate outlined. That is one thing. But another issue that Jesus found in this parable is the issue of this man had abundance and he did not consult God as what to do with his abundance. He made a decision, but he did not consider the things that God would have him to do. Didn't invite Jesus to the table to ask. And many of us, we have abundance and we never come to God and say, God, you've given me more than I really need. What do you want me to do with the overflow? How should I do the overflow? Oftentimes, we increase our standard of giving before we increase our giving to the master. Sometimes, many times we do not consider what God would have us to do with our abundance of resources. That is because one is we think we own it. No, we're only stewards. Number two is we think that if we have more, it gives us more security. God is the one that protects the home. God is the one that protects and preserves our lives. So he's not only our owner, but he's also our protector. So he protects us and watches over us. Another issue that we run into of the issue of ownership and abundance is that we've lost the sense of contentment. We're always grasping for more, and more. And we never say, enough is enough. We buy one new car and the maker of that car comes out with a new car and they convince us that we need to upgrade before we even pay off the one we have. We have homes that we have plenty of space in, it meets our needs, but we keep looking at TV and marketers sell us the thing that we need to rebuild, get a larger one, expand, tear down, and we're constantly losing all our resources to keep building and building, but we never come to the point where we say enough. The Bible tells us that godliness with contentment is great gain. Learning to be solid in our spiritual walk and in connection with God and being content with where God has placed us, providing for us and sustaining us, and that when he blesses us with overflow, we consult him and ask God, what do you want me to do? And he will guide us. So let us not be like the rich, foolish landowner, the farmer, but be more like Christ. Be a giver. Distribute what God has given us. Because remember, Christ said in verse 15 of Luke chapter 12, life is more than the abundance of things we collect. Amen. My brothers and sisters, stay encouraged. God is able.
Pastor, I want to thank you for coming back here and sharing with us the highlights of this message today. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.